Hey everyone, welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Popple, along with my co-host, William McClellan. How's it going, Will?
All's good. Life's good. Really excited for the show today. Going to be some fun on a new topic with a lot of fun stories with a really cool guest. So,
dude, definitely. So I've known Ryan Keeslar for a little over 5 years now. I actually met him whenever I got into my first Clean Eats location and joined the chamber. He's into his day jobs as a printer salesman and does leases on those, and so he's definitely helped me out there. But what really connected Ryan to me is after meeting him at the chamber, we actually met at a real estate meetup, and I realized that this guy was one of the biggest guys in the room, but he was so humble that you kind of had to pull it out of him. Like he really didn't, come there bragging about how many doors he had, but it was just like, one time we were talking, I realized like, man, he's got about 20 houses. Anyway, without further ado, I want to bring on my very good friend, Ryan Keeslar, the rental king here in Northwest Florida.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Thanks, rental king, baby. The rental king.
No, Ryan's got it going on with the rentals.
I don't know, man. Every day is a grind, But no, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude, we're super excited to have you on the show today. And we'll go ahead and get this thing kicked off for the listeners. So tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Ryan, life before real estate, life in school, college, just give us a little background so that the listeners get to know who you are, as a person and as a business owner.
Yeah. So honestly, pretty typical childhood, we had birthdays and Christmases, things got a little wild for my parents, when I got in my teens. And so I kind of had to figure out a lot of stuff out, early on. I remember, my mom kind of always went in and out of prison. And then my dad and mother both got arrested the same night. And they both got taken away. So when I was around like 14. And so I've always just kind of been a hustler, and figuring stuff out. And I think that kind of slowed the first chapter of my life down a little bit, just trying to figure out just, basic things. I really was never, into school. I mean, schoolwork was never a priority, but I just always got by. And then, kind of in all the craziness, I actually dropped out of high school. And then, moved to Florida, when I was around like 23, 24, just kind of, was tired of working dead end jobs and, drinking and kind of being a dumb 20-year-old. And so we moved from California and landed in Niceville with my grandparents and my mom. We all kind of transplanted over here and, just got to work. And, one of my best friends, who he actually had it worse than I did. He was, Section 8, his single mom, and dude, we all did illegal stuff. And, that's just how we grew up. And he came over here and, we started a sales business, and I always did collections. So I kind of worked 2 jobs. And so I had sold satellite TV with him part-time, and it just didn't work out. And we ended up separating ways. And then, really, I didn't start into real estate until I bought my first house when I was like 27. And it was kind of crazy because, when I went through all this, moving to Florida and, getting started, I got a job and I took on some debt, which was stupid early on. So, I took advantage of the state of Florida SHIP program, which is a first-time home buyers program, and they covered 4% of the purchase price of the home, which 1% you could use towards the down payment. And this is back in 2007, right? So if you guys remember, 2008 was when the crash kind of happened.
Right.
So it was kind of cool. I just I had worked 2 jobs actually after the failed business, and I worked in collections, which I'd done early on, and delivered pizzas at night. And I met my girlfriend, which is now my wife, who's been like my straight rock star, all we bought our first house, which was a townhome, and then like within a year, the house next door sold for half that price. So I think it was cool because we ended up in 2011 had our daughter Camille, who wanted me definitely to let everyone know how awesome she is, because she's our little apartment manager, soon to be our I keep on trying to get her to be our family attorney.
Shout out to Camille. We would definitely love to see her become a lawyer. So yeah. So
I know
she got a lot of real estate if she's getting those lawyer checks.
Oh, bro. Yeah. When I die, she's gonna get it all. So
you're right.
I'm like, but and so
I did want to pause you for a second, because this is a fact you told me the other day, and I really think you need to kind of lay it out there for the people. When did you get you got your first house, but then when did you end up going get your high school? You got your first house before you got your high school equivalency, right?
Yeah. So when we got pregnant, I was like, I need to, I started, I had to go get my state of Florida, high school diploma, and in order to take college classes, and so I took, I took 4 classes before they told me that I had to go take some unaccredited paid classes that I wouldn't get reimbursed for, and I was just like, fuck this, I'm out.
Right.
So and my daughter was about to be born, so it was just kind of the right time. And
the only reason I want to bring that up is because I just think that is so cool, because like I said, knowing that was the start, and when that so many other people start at a higher level than that, like some people, not everyone starts equally in this country. Some people start here, some people start here, based on family circumstances and stuff. And so I just wanted to highlight that where you started and then how far you have come is just, to me, it's mind blowing, and I applaud you for it. I definitely I'm proud to call you my friend.
Thanks,
so.
Man. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's crazy. I mean, I know we both kind of had our snags early on in life, but I mean, a lot of similarities. I mean, I've been a heavy guy my whole life. It was crazy. I did this life transformation. We had bought our second house because in 2011 we had a baby, and we didn't want to go up and down the stairs with Camille in the house, and so to tie it back to my buddy Mark, he took a class and got a bunch of free education on real estate, and I knew rich people always had real estate. And so I was just like, man, dude, let's just keep it, rent it. And it was the easiest thing ever. We ended up buying that house, and we still have it to this day. We still have the number one. And, it's crazy to see, what you can do. But, back to that transformation, something clicked when Camille was around 2 or 3, where I was 365 pounds. And, so I did a juice cleanse and dropped like 100 pounds. Did I lose you guys?
No. You're still good.
Okay. We're just doing the full screen.
You guys disappeared on me. But no, so it was crazy. I dropped 100 pounds, and then I got into outside sales and just started crushing it. So after,
so sales has always been kind of in your blood.
Yeah, dude, just a hustling, man.
I love it.
And so that's when, so we had managed our rental for, maybe a couple of years, and we went and bought our first true investment property, I think in 2018. So, we can,
and you've just been ramping it up ever since.
Yeah, man. And actually the thing is like, so I showed the realtor at the gym. I was working out at Militia Fitness, and which is like a crazy kind of similar to CrossFit. And so I was telling the realtor, one of the guys that I work out with in the morning, I was like, dude, I want to go look at this house. And he's like, it's a piece of shit. Like, you'll never make any money, right? And it's like, so, and then he just didn't take it seriously. And I was like, why? I mean, it's this, it's a 2-bedroom townhome in Green Acres, and I got it for $55,000, right? And so I called my other realtor friend, who was my old neighbor, and they locked it up for me. And I didn't do any inspections. I had like 20 grand cash, and I took a personal loan for like 50 grand from USAA, right? And so I was like, all right, I got this house. What am I going to do with it? And so I just went in there and did what I've always done, and just figure out the problems, There was like, I got an electrician in there. We had 3 working outlets, and Paul went in there, just like rocked the whole thing from start to finish in like 2 days. And we found out we had polybutylene, so I had to like rip all that out. And
oh my god,
dude, honestly, it's not bad, dude. 2 bedrooms, 1,000 square feet. And so I put a new AC unit in, and my renovation was like 13 grand. I'm in it for like 65.
yeah,
Dude, that thing's worth like 200 now, like 175.
What were you renting it? So like when you were in it for 65, like what were you renting it for like immediately?
So my niece actually moved to Orlando and said she was moving back. So I put her in it for $850, and I was like,
so you got over a 1+% on day one. Give it a family deal at the same time. So
hell yeah. Well, and so crazy enough, like I Craigslisted it, like so the guy that I used, the handyman that I used to paint it, like he gave me like, it was like $1,500 to paint and fix the sheetrock. And he was telling me about Pensacola and how him and his dad have like all these rentals. And so, I had a problem with the popcorn ceiling that kind of fell down, and I called him, and he sent his dad out, and his dad was like chatting me up about like, oh, we got, this one place. And I was like, well, let me take a look at it. And so I'd never really looked at Pensacola as an option. And it's like a probably 40s duplex and a little cottage, right on, right north of Cervantes, so close, like right close to downtown. And so I'm like, dude, I don't know, what do you want for it? And he's like, 85 grand. And I'm like, I'm like counting on my fingers, like, dude, I got like 20 here, like, I got a credit card. I was like, can you make like 60 work? And he's like, well, let me call David, his son. And he's like, yeah, that'll work. And I was like, I'm like, really? Like, I could do 50 like now. And he's like, oh, let me just call David. And I was like, all right, well, and he goes, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I'm about to buy a triplex for like 50 grand. Right.
That's nuts.
And so
what year was it? Yeah. What year was it real quick?
That's been clean.
19 maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So and it was beat up, dude. And so we just cleaned it up, and I found out like that it was just a mismanaged asset. He was renting to his baby mama in the middle unit. So, and then he was getting like $300 from like one other unit, and then like $300 the other. So like $600 between 2 people is not. It's nothing to write home about. You can't even afford insurance, right? So we ended up, basically kicking some people out, painting, just doing the basics, and just hung on to it until we had the money. And we ended up renovating the duplex. And we, over the period of time, I had gotten all that money back, so I was like, no mortgage on this thing. I had paid it off. So we had done some other real estate transactions, and I had some money sitting around. And so I completely like trusses, added, central AC to the duplex, vinyl siding, windows, floors, like everything, dude. So I did a $90,000 renovation on that building, and it's pulling $1,200 each side. And plus I get the old cottage that's still waiting there to be done. So that thing pulls like $3 grand a month, just, and it's, it's crazy. Like, so you go from having one rental that you're like, maybe making $100 on, and then you stack up and you're like, oh, I got these three, and it's, and I remember like the aha moment where like, I can't keep track of all these people in my head anymore. I need to create a spreadsheet.
So,
and
something people always, like our listeners, like to hear about is you said you had a little pockets of money, you had some other real estate transactions. Some people always, and something that we like to highlight on the show is that how-to steps. Sometimes we kind of breeze over that. So how were you able to find financing and get financing? I know you mentioned in your first deal, you went to USAA, you got a personal loan. What about this triplex? And then
so actually, I we had bought our house in 2011. We had we got it. It was a foreclosure, and so we ended up after I got that.
Ryan's leaving a big detail out. It's a waterfront foreclosure. He lives in a waterfont home.
No, that's no. I just got that one.
Okay. I was just making sure you weren't, just making that short change.
No. That didn't come till the house that we bought in 2011 was a foreclosure. I mean, we only made I made like 48,000. Was my best year at that career ever. I don't remember what I made that year, and my wife only made like 30. So, like, to put it in perspective, like, you don't have to make a ton of money to get there, right? It's 1 through 4 is like easy because you can do that with FHA, like just 3% down. A lot of times, dude, like my first place, I got $250 back at the closing table, and I only gave him 500 down. So I was like, with that SHIP program, dude, there's no and my credit score is 490.
Okay, so this is going to speak to a lot of the listeners. So maybe we go into a little detail on this. So I think this is really, really interesting. So a lower side credit score, little money, but my favorite thing you just said there is 1 to 4 is easy. I think people get scared on the 1, and then they really get scared on the 2, but then anything after that, they're like ready to kind of roll. So how do you think that snowball effect, really, you can dive into some details for some of the listeners?
Well, dude, honestly, I did collections for 16 years, and and so I was always afraid of debt, and I still don't like it. I don't think anyone really wants to take on debt except for Sam. He's freaking Grant Cardone over here. Yeah, but so I've always been like lean and mean, and if you buy something that is a great deal, you can sell that great deal. Like, that's undoable. That's fixable, right? You could walk away paying off the mortgage and being like, okay, I can rent again, right? Or I can move back into house number 1. So I mean, I just always kind of that person inside of me who would bum $1 so I can get a 99-cent jumbo jack, walking my happy ass to my buddy's garage. So I had that's where I lived as a teenager for probably, I don't know, 6-8 months, and so that person is still in here, right? I think we all have that piece of us where if you went through a hard time, it doesn't go away. Like, for the longest time, if I pull up to my house and it was pitch black, I'm like, power bill, it's my power off, So that person's still in there, even though I built this kind of business. But so I feel like if you're scared of going into the second house, don't buy your dream home. Know that you're buying something that you can add to and then move on from next year, right?
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I think this house,
delayed gratification, right?
Yeah, I mean, this house didn't come till I was really just we were at a point in our marriage where we were both kind of just ready for something new, and we moved to a nicer neighborhood. Got my wife a nice car. We were doing well. I mean, we didn't go buy $80,000, $100,000 cars. I mean, but brand new, $30,000 car. I mean, so we're not like lavish people. It's just, I think keeping your costs low, so that way whenever something bad happens, you can weather the storm. Really.
Sure, that's good advice.
Did you have anyone kind of early on in your journey that kind of really made you feel good about going into the real estate investing?
I mean, I just knew it was the right move, and then I think I found bigger pockets, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I remember sitting on the toilet reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I'm like, holy shit, Robert Kiyosaki, he sold Xerox copiers. I sell copiers. And I'm like, he has real estate. I have real estate. I'm like, we're like the same guy,
love
it. And so it was just cool, and even one of the stories in the book, where he buys this major lot of land in Hawaii, and it's got this house, and he separates the house from the land, and he sells the house, or he sells the land, but then he gets the other half completely free. And I was just like, that's how you make money in real estate, seeing the opportunity, and everything that everyone else looks past and doesn't want to deal with, I will deal with, and I'll make my money on the back end by dealing with those problems that other people don't want to, So
no, I think that's
from a deal you were telling me about. I think you really are Robert Kiyosaki, because you just did that exact same deal you just mentioned in Hawaii here in Pensacola. Am I right? With buying a property and getting some free lots out of it.
I've heard a lot of lead up to this story, so I think our listeners, including myself, are going to be really excited.
You mentioned the Hawaii deal. I think this is perfect timing for you now to go into this one.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm excited.
So we just sold a house that was burnt down. So we've been sitting on some cash. We rebuilt it and then sold it, which was horrible. Mm-hmm. But so we've been sitting on this cash for, probably 3 months, 4 months. And, my wife actually, she always finds these crazy deals. And so she sees this god awful listing on Zillow, and it's 3 garbage pictures. And I'm like, perfect. This lady's horrible at her job. That's and so we find this. It's a triplex.
For everyone, he got this off of Zillow, off the MLS. So just kind of throwing that out there, because this is rare in our business, in our non-real estate podcast, where people's finding on-market property. But I just wanted to make sure that detail was noted for everyone, that this was an on-market property. All right, go on, Ryan. Sorry.
So no, it's all good. So Liz shows it to me, and she messages the realtor, and nothing, and it's advertised as a very confusing triplex with extra unit. It's literally 2 sentences and 3 photos, and I'm like, money. So yeah, dude. So we it's 45 minutes. Let's roll over there. We always like to go and get fancy. The Pensacola has amazing restaurants, so it's win-win. So we drive it. I call the realtor, and I realize that she's just this older lady, and she's representing this really old couple, and they've just let this this amazing asset just get water damaged, and it's not. I mean, dude, the last place I had burnt down, I had to rebuild it inside and out. So I'm like, bet, yeah, I got this. So yeah, dude, this is my dream reno. So I call her, and I'm like, dude, she has it listed for $75,000. I'm like, I'll give you 60 right now, and I'll even give you the listing, or you could be my buyer's agent. I don't care, just get me this house. And she's like, all right, let me call, Miss Lowe or whatever, and so we go back and forth, and so we settle on 67.5, right? So I got the money cash, slap it down, find out there's already 2 tenants in the property, right? So the cool thing about this property is it actually is it's 2 addresses, right? And on that 2 addresses, it's lot 4, or it's lot 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? So lot 8 is its own address. I can sell that right now for probably 15 to 20 grand right now. Lot 4 is completely vacant. I actually have a surveyor going out there, and all I have to do is make the request. It's already it's already its own lot. And so all I need to do is just separate that. So I'm in at 68,000 plus 4,000 for insurance, so 72. I can basically pull an extra 30 grand back out of it immediately, and at least 30 to 40,000 selling those 2 lots, which then puts me in the deal around like 40 grand. So my renovation budget on that is going to be about 120, and that basically is going to be adding central HVAC, all new electrical, roof, new siding because it's block and it's got this crap siding upstairs. So all new windows, and so at the end of the day, I think the 1 bedrooms will rent for $1,200 each side, $1,100. It's got a 3-2 upstairs. So I should be able to pull $1,500, $1,600, and then the ADU probably another grand. So I'm thinking, dude, off 150 grand, 180 grand, dude, pulling almost $5 grand a month, dude. That's how you make money in like in those scenarios, even though it's not like,
Well,
it's
actually it's even better because that's all what it could be. But then as of right now, you're in it for 72 right now. What are those two tenants paying rent currently?
So one's paying, they've agreed. So they were paying, like one was paying 300, one was paying 500. And I called them both and they were like, we don't want to move. So one lady's going to cover 700. The other lady's going to pay, I think like 600. I think she's agreed to come up to 800. So just leaving them in and buttoning up the roof. I could pull, 1,400 a month.
It's a 2%er as is. Like
as is. Not doing anything. I love it.
Just to bring it up, 2%er means 2% a month. That's a 24% annual return as it is before Ryan bangs a single nail.
So
you're forgetting about the 2
free lots. Yeah, because actually if he doesn't do anything, because we had this talk the other day, if he did nothing, sold the lots, it would actually turn it to almost a 4%er because his cost basis comes down to about 40 grand if he sold the 2 lots. I actually am in the school of thought that he shouldn't renovate it, just sell those lots and then let the money ride. But
it's different goals, man.
You're doing it his plan though. It'll be a better asset for sure. Doing the full renovation,
So, and the thing is, I really do enjoy seeing the property like turn, right? Because like all of a sudden you get like the super like just rundown piece of junk, and then you get these young young couples that want like a really cool place to live, and you're gonna give them an affordable place to live that looks like super Instagrammable, because you put like all modern. I don't care what you buy at Home Depot. There's only like one horrible flooring out of all of them, and you know what I mean. And so you just put like some trendy paint in there, nice cabinets. Dude, it'll rent like hotcakes, and you'll crush cash, and then. When you lease out the properties, I do all my own vetting. Remember I said I did collections for 16 years? Mm-hmm. Dude, I could spot a turd from a mile away. So, so you just gotta, that's I think the biggest thing is like two major things in being a landlord, right? Number 1, vetting your tenants. Number 2, raising rents, right? So it's funny, like we were always afraid to raise rents, and and so I told Liz, I was like, dude, we need to raise rents, and I didn't give it much thought, and so I left for work, and like she just like was like, hey guys, sorry to let you know, like taxes, insurance, everything's going up, and she raised people like 10-15%, and I was just like, I got a pit in my stomach. I was like, holy shit. And so 4 people she did that to. 3 of the 4 just were like, yeah, we totally understand. And the only person that like complained about it and actually ended up moving out was the biggest pain in my ass out of all of them.
Works out.
Yeah. So
and then once they were out, you probably got even more rent.
Dude, I did, and I got more money, no vacancy.
Got rid of the pain in the ass, more money.
Yeah, there was like the people were moving in and she was like moving out, like they almost bumped shoulders. That's how fast I filled it. And so, yeah, it was, dude, great. And so I posted an article on the Bigger Pockets forum, and I looked down at my phone. This has never happened to me before. Like 10 minutes later, I'm like 300, and I'm like, I'm getting old, so I can't see. And I'm like, there was like 300 reactions. And then like within an hour, I was like, like 1,000 reactions. I woke up the next morning and there was like 4,000 like reactions and like hundreds of people just commenting like how they're scared to raise rents. And I'm like, it was honestly the best thing we ever did,
Yeah. Interesting. So going off of that, are you raising rents annually, or, are you doing it as market shifts, or?
So yeah, I mean,
as leases end, or
when you have so many kind of moving parts and you kind of get stressed for cash a little bit on some of these renovations, you're always reluctant to do it.
Sure.
But if you call me and you say you have a problem, I'll be like, hey, while you're on the phone, I'm glad you called because I've been meaning to bring this up. Your lease is up for renewal, taxes, insurance, and then you just kind of seize the opportunity. Yeah, we're going to come out and, service your unit. But by the way, your lease is up. We need to renew at this new rate. And then usually they're fine with it.
Sure.
And so, pick up an extra $100 on a unit a month or $50. I mean, that's $600, $1,200 a year. Times if you can do that over 5-10 units, I mean, that really makes a big difference, especially when, our insurance has gone from $1,000 to $3,000 on the same unit within 5 years. So.
No, that's a great little advice for all the listeners. So tell us a little bit about life today outside of that killer deal that you're working on right now. Kind of let us know, and all the listeners, like what you're actively doing, what type of investments you have, like what's your portfolio look like. Just enlighten the listeners, in Ryan today, because he gave a great background and really cool advice and great stories for everyone so far. So just trying to dive in a little deeper.
So right now, I mean, I have a full-time job, and I'm an account manager at Dex Imaging. So 8 to 5. I mean, I do that, and I manage my own properties. So I have I manage like rent collection, maintenance, all of that kind of in between.
And how many properties is that? Just so everyone knows how many you're self-managing.
So right now we have with the 4 I have, it puts us at 21, so 19 active like tenants. And so I do all that myself. I have 3 units that I have a property manager on because I just I don't want to deal with that area. But I'm managing my renovations myself. I order all my own material. I'm very hands-on when it comes to managing the projects, making decisions. I feel like, in the past, I've handed off too much of that responsibility, and then shortcuts get taken. And then, as an investor, man, I end up paying the bill twice, like a year later, I had to uninstall and reinstall 3 brand new air conditioners. That's $7,500 mistake just by letting the wrong guy do the work.
That's tough.
So
with that being said, will there ever be a day, or what's that ideal number in your head of when you're going to transition the self-management to a management team, or is that part of the bigger goal to own your own management team?
So really, I want to own my own crew. I'm at the point where I want to have like a full-time kind of employee at some point. The cash flow from the rentals, since I self-funded a lot of the projects myself, it just means I don't have somebody in my back pocket. So it gives me a lot of just freedom to do what I want, really. So I can pay, a decent salary.
Sure.
And so I want to double my portfolio and quit my 9 to 5 and really get out of and just really truly be a full-time real estate investor and build a team out around that. My wife is she's super risk averse, so she's not really down with like partnering, like, because we're partners, right? So really it's just growing at a reasonable rate, and then I want to get my cash flow to where I know, not only do I know that I can pay all my bills, I can live a life of just to where I don't have to ever like log into my bank account and worry about money, right? I want to go travel, and it sounds so cliche. I want to travel the world, but like honestly, dude, I want to go. Like I've been grinding like on burning both sides of the candle for so long. It's like, yeah, I want to go enjoy life and go do stuff, and
Awesome.
That's really the end goal, is having a passive income to where I can, my biggest fear, I think, is becoming retiring too early and not having the cash to keep up with the properties. Because what you see a lot of times is like these old guys. Look at all these old guys, right? And so you get 60, 70, 80, and their properties just decline, right? So you need to have enough cash to maintain everything, all your big expenses. So, if you build that cash flow enough to where like you can, manage everything, pay for your life, pay for all these houses, because that's a big thing we don't, talk about is, really the big expenses. You have to repaint exterior. You have to, things break, like roofs. I put on like 7 roofs last year, and so in 15 years, bro, 7 roofs are going to come up, so
no doubt. That's great. So that was actually one of the questions that I was curious on, like what's the lifetime or the in game look like.
Let's back up a little bit. we don't want to jump there yet, because
he just told us. So that's
I was going to get into though. What's your portfolio currently, and then your debt ratio on that? Because you told me that the other day, and I thought that was just real impressive as well.
You mean like cash in versus like how much I get to keep?
Yeah.
So
really poking the bear there, Sam.
So I have about $8,000 a month in just insurance, taxes, mortgages, and I pull in a little over 20 once I get these other pulled up.
Not bad.
So I'll be pulling probably like 25, 26 before expenses. And so I think with taxes and insurance, it'll probably drive it up, to maybe like $9,000 or whatever. And then you have expenses. So, 6-figure, a healthy 6-figure extra salary. And the way we look at it is it's a great third job, man.
A great third
job. And that's about a $4 million portfolio, right? Overall, like a real estate.
I mean, with my house and stuff, yeah, dude, it's and I owe like a little over $1 million.
Dude, that was the point I wanted all of them to hear, is the amount of equity he had in that. That is huge, because a lot of people you hear online and talk about they own all these doors. Then you don't know how much equity they actually got. They might just be the sponsor partner on a bunch of doors, but have zero equity in the deal as it. But Ryan's actually built a solid portfolio because him and his wife have just such a great, I think, financial savings plan, and just how they allocate their life and their funds. I actually need to take more notes from Ryan, because as he called me out earlier for being the debt guy, because I always throw out what he could refinance everything for.
Honestly, like I think there's 2 ways of doing it, right? Slow and painful, which is I have a high tolerance for pain, I guess, in uncomfortable situations. But or you can scale up fast by borrowing a bunch of money and I'm not good with money. Like, as crazy as it sounds, dude, I'm not good with keeping large amounts of money. Like it will disappear.
I don't know if I agree with that, knowing that you
Bro.
25% on your
Yeah,
portfolio.
I think you're better at it than you give yourself credit for. I think you probably think of the old Ryan, like back in the day, the youth Ryan, but that you got that guy under control.
Yeah. Well, hold on. So you have the business money, then you have our W-2 money, and it's like, like, where's all this money at? And it's just because you're always building, right? You're reinvesting.
That's the key word. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so, and some of the most successful people that I know, like I was talking to one of my clients, a friend of mine, and, and it's like, you're always, going, you're running the red line, right? Like you're pressing as hard as you can. Like it's uncomfortable. Like I wake up every morning at like 3 a.m, like, and it's not how it used to be. It used to be like every morning, like, oh shit, what am I, I need to go, kill and make things happen. And so it gets easier, but that's a normal response to being in these like stressful positions. But dude, that's how diamonds are forged. Like, being under a lot of pressure, and you can either quit, give up, or you could move forward. And I think like, just moving forward is the hardest thing to, is you have to move forward, and you have to be able to make decisions and weigh out like pros and cons. Like when a problem comes up that's multiple thousands of dollars, like you could drag your feet. And that's one of the biggest things I think that I did a few years back that made me be able to handle the stress, is like making a decision, right? And go, okay, well, option A is I spend this money and I've resolved the problem right now. Option B, I dwell about it, or think I can like somehow, endure this stressful, like this agony of having this problem, and I'm going to do it myself. No, bro, pay the money, get it done, figure it out, and then move forward. And as soon as you make that decision, that stress goes away. Have you ever had that where you're just like mulling something over? You're like, shit, I have a $20,000 insurance payment. Or I got to put this roof on the house. It's, it's $15,000 roof, or else my insurance is going to be $7,000 or $12,000. Like, sure. Make the decision, figure it out, and then it makes life a lot easier just figuring out how to make decisions.
Totally, that analysis paralysis kind of
Painful
mentality. Yeah, no, I totally get stuck in that often. So that I needed to hear that. I needed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I finish out your thought, because I was going to ask you, what's the next 12 months look like for you?
So the next 12 months, so I plan on probably just renovating the fourplex, updating the tenants, really just kind of getting that done, and just I'll 100% focus on that, because I don't want to take too much attention off of my primary income generating, which is account management, because I do have a pretty heavy demand on what I do day to day.
Sure. Thanks for making time for us.
No, this is a pleasure. But because like being in outside sales, you always have to be moving the needle forward and pushing stuff forward. And so a lot of prospecting, working with existing clients, and dealing with all the problems that come with that. And as that business gets bigger, you end up, it takes up a lot of your time, and it's very stressful. And then so, in that process, you end up, it forces you to, move things along and go, yes, do this. But with that also comes the fact with when you are quick to say yes, you're quick to make mistakes. And how do you bounce back from that?
Sure. Being able to kind of analyze and then justify why you made the decision or not. So that's awesome. Man, so I'm curious just because I kind of want to excel my portfolio, and I know Sam does too. So, kind of going back to the former part of the conversation, what's some advice that you would give someone that would be starting out if they wanted to do what you do? I know that one's loaded. Sorry.
No, all right, go to Zillow.
Okay, I'm writing this down.
Go to Zillow. Go to the rental Zestimate. All right,
Uh-huh.
go and look at all the comps in the area. Now go for everything and look at everything that's for sale, and see what the mortgage payment would be. All right, that's going to let you know, like within 100% certainty, like 90% certainty, whether it's going to be a good rental for you. All right.
That's great advice.
So because you're planning your roadmap of like I'm going to be here for a year, and actually like the great thing about like not owning real estate, like dude, my best friend Nick, dude, like I found this townhome for 74 grand. It's worth about 200 right now over off of Racetrack in Fort Walton, and I couldn't live there, right? Because I have a family. We're not going to move into a townhome, right? My wife is not gonna,
She can't leave in the house you got now.
but my boy Sammy Popple, without like he can go do it, and
Sure.
I've moved a couple times.
Yeah. So you find something that will be financeable, right? That's livable. And go move in that joker and have an exit plan. Like either you're going to do a rent by the room, you're going to, make it a long-term rental, vacation rental, midterm rental. And everything's so expensive right now, but there's all these great tools. Like you can go to AirDNA and see what it would Airbnb for,
Sure.
and just don't buy something stupid that no one wants to live in, right? No one wants to live on a busy street. No one wants to live next to a drug house. You want to be close to like something cool. And as long as you're,
You mean those aren't attractive, loud drug house neighborhoods?
ideally, I want to buy the drug house, kick them out, and then everyone will love you, and then you renovate it, and then, dude, that's how you make the money, bro. You buy that turd, and then everyone around you, it elevates them, right?
Sure. No, I love it.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, make sure it'll cash flow as a rental. Secure your financing. Go talk to a banker. I will tell you right now, brokers always make you broker. Talk to first line of defense. Go talk to a bank, right? Credit unions, USAA, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Those guys are mega, right? But you're gonna have to fit in their box. So their box says that you have to meet their debt to income ratio. So if you have a job, you want to make sure you have 2 years of primary income, continuity of income, or else you're not going to qualify for their box. Now, if you don't qualify for that, then you go to the broker and look at alternative financing options like, bank statement loans, things like that. But
you think that people, getting from that 2 to 4, if they have a couple years of tax returns, solid, stable job, to be able to get that second mortgage? I know a lot of people are curious on that. Like that second one is, a lot of people just stay comfortable in their primary, and then getting that investment property. It's like, oh, an investment loan. I don't know, because generally you have to bring more money to the table. There's a couple different caveats.
Well, what I did was actually I took 10 grand out of my 401k back in 2011, which was like 10%. And they didn't even require it. Honestly, like when we got underwrote for the loan, they were like, "Oh, you're going to sell that first house?" You're like, "Uh-huh." And they're like, "Oh, we don't have to look at that one."
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, so number 2 was like cake. And then, number 3, I mean, you just need to show that the properties are leased. They take it off your debt to income ratio. and just, they might want to see that you have some capital, like 6 months of reserve payments, just in case something bad happens.
Sure.
But if you're at work and you have a 401k, you're like, here, look at all this 401k money. They're like, that's real money. We'll take that.
Sweet.
So you could be paycheck to paycheck and like go from 1 to 2. And as long as you have a little bit of buffer, like in a separate like retirement account, they're like, you're good.
I love it. Awesome.
Now you want to have more than a 400 credit score for number 2. But yeah, like go talk to your local bank and see who their first time home buyers mortgage loan originator is, and they'll hold your hand.
Yeah, they want to get the sale too, right? That's their job. So.
And that first house that first townhome I bought, it actually lost like 50% value, like within the first like 18 months. Now it's doubled in price. I make $1,000 a month off of it.
That's another very good one to highlight for everyone. Because I think when everyone thinks about the worst time in real estate, the one time that usually always comes up is the 06 to 08 period. When it shifted to horrible, and and Ryan's story is not unique in the fact that property bought 1 year was worth half the price a year later. I got a condo years later that. But in that time period, they were selling in the 400s. I bought it for 160 something, and then recently a year ago, I sold it for just under 400. Like I think 388. So yeah, that's a very typical thing, but just kind of been showing that he held it, and then it's now doubled in value, and he's never lost any money because it was always rented and cash flowing through the rent. So I mean, just kind of showing everyone, because I know everyone kind of always has someone negative in their ear being like, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens, and the house is worth half tomorrow? Well, that's as long as you buy for solid cash flow, you will still be able to cover your debt and hold the asset until times get better. So I would actually go and always say that cash flow is always a little bit more important than appreciation. I think the most important thing, because that's what can kind of cover you on the day-to-day, for problems, but the appreciation is what pays in the long run. And that's what's really maximized Ryan's portfolio today, is all that long-term appreciation ballooning and having very little debt.
Well, and you bring up a good thing about people being in your ear. So my grandpa's an auditor, and, we always looked up to grandpa. He, has a fantastic life, and everyone was just like talking mad shit when I bought that first house, and they're like, oh, the market's going down, and dude, the sky never fell. I mean, like, I didn't have to exit, but like, why would you take advice from someone who's never walked in those shoes?
Right.
Like, if you're going to listen to anybody, go talk to somebody who actually has been there and done it for a long period of time. Because there's the one person who, I rented out my place to like friends, they trashed it or whatever. 2 rules: don't rent to friends and don't rent to family. And always screen your tenants, because the one time you don't do, one of those steps, dude, you end up paying for it, like a lot, So, I mean, always, you got to get your information from a trusted, like, credible source. And again, if you have solid deals coming in, and if you have 30-40% equity in a property, 50% equity in a property, because you bought it right, you managed your renovation right, and you didn't just like hire a GC to charge you retail and everything because you wanted like I'm going to be an investor. Like, no, you have to like go in and actually look at every line item and make sure, Sam, like things that stand out on the bid. You're like, you're charging me $4 to install LVP per square foot plus, material. No, I know I can get it for $1.50, $1.75, like over $2,000. And you pick up like $2,000 in savings just by going, hey, that's wrong. And, And so really when you manage your costs like that, that's how you get that big margin, right? Because it's, one, you're buying the house at a discount. Two, you're managing all of your costs. That's why I say you have to like buy your own supplies, and you have to, get vendors and let them know like, hey, I want to be fair, but I'm going to do volume. I'm not going to be, your best paying customer, but you're going to see me again. And it's, not in 5 years, like in the next 6 months, we'll be laying more floor, use like Thumbtack. That's a great option. Look at your local contractors' Facebook groups and see who's recommended. That
was called Thumbtack.
Yeah. Another Liz.
Yeah,
bro, dude, my wife is like full of all this. Like, why don't you use Thumbtack? I'm like, no, and then I do it, and then like,
no, right.
Dude, I get the guy who does like the pro installer from Lowe's, who just picks up extra work on Thumbtack, and he charged me $1.50 a square foot to lay flooring. Dude, they want like $2.50, $3 at the flooring store, like double. Like, no, bro. You end up finding these great people, and the cool thing about Thumbtack is, you can see all the past reviews to know if they're good or not.
Right.
And those guys pay for leads on there, so they want to get good reviews. So,
exactly.
But yeah, man. If anyone has any, wants me to look at anything, I'll probably tell you don't buy it.
What's your favorite or top 3 favorite books that really kind of helped you learn the game and get where you are today?
So there was 3 books that really kind of shaped. There's a few books that really shaped me early on. There was Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Really is a great foundation for setting up personal finances, because without the finances piece personally, you can't grow, right? If you're always spinning your wheels, all your energy is focused on paying those credit cards and paying car payments and this dream home mortgage payment. Like, you're never going to be able to achieve financial freedom, because all your money's spent. Like when I was young, dude, I would go to the grocery store and like write a check on Wednesday, because I knew my direct deposit would be there Friday. So I knew like if I go buy groceries, so I was so broke, I'm like, dude, it's 9:00. This check is not going to make it to their bank till Thursday, which my bank will process my direct deposit, and then the check will clear. So I'm like, and so when I realized, like 20% of my paycheck is gone before even payday hits, right? Like, that's when you're like, holy shit, like I need to have some accountability. And then, and having a budget, like I would write it, like before payday, I would get out a piece of scratch paper, rent, power, water, go through all my bills, and then go, okay, well, I have $400 left. There's, 14 days. That gives me, like $30 a day or $25 a day to spend. And so having like actually breaking all that stuff down when you are poor, and actually putting context into what you can actually do every day, and getting as many people out of your pocket as you can, will only pay you moving forward. So
I think that book is really, really great for people that have budgets, just to run through. What are some other ones?
Obviously, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great one. Oh yeah, that Robert Kiyosaki story about buying the land and selling the land and keeping the house. I mean, it was just awesome. And there's so many good books. I mean, Bigger Pockets puts out a bunch of great books. Brandon Turner wrote the book on managing tenants or property management, where it just spells out everything about managing properties. And there's a lot of good key takeaways out of that book. I mean, just man, there's another book called The Slight Edge, which is really about mindset. Doing how you live life, doing business with integrity, being consistent, showing up every day.
What was it called? Sorry, I'm writing it.
The Slight Edge.
Slight Edge. Okay.
Yeah. So a very successful real estate investor I know. I met him through Copiers. He suggested that book. He said it picked him up after the financial crash in 2008, and he owns a 4 or 5 story commercial building in Destin that's worth probably like, I don't know, $7-8 million at least.
At least $1 million a floor.
So if you can go from nothing and bounce back from that, dude, I read that book, and a lot of great stories in it, and I still reference them today.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, if people were looking to get in contact or to contact you about maybe some rentals or something like that, how would they find you?
LinkedIn, Facebook, those are the two. You can email me at super simple, RyanKeeslar@gmail.com.
Love it.
I'm the only Ryan Keeslar on LinkedIn, I think. Or only Ryan Keeslar on Facebook, probably best to just go through like LinkedIn. If anybody wants me to look at anything, I can kind of tell you my personal experience with a lot of stuff, but I'm not a financial advisor, but definitely a lot of people that have a lot more units that are a lot more successful. I just, I do what's comfortable with me,
But I will say that a lot of those people with a lot more units don't necessarily have more equity than you have, So that equity is something to be very proud of. Is like I said, I'm proud of you. Yeah,
dude. I mean, from the guy who was getting 99-cent jumbo jacks to living where I'm at now, dude. It's hard to believe, It's
right.
It can happen.
And I think this story is gonna be great for so many of our listeners, because there's someone. I think I was gonna say that because we do there are some people that that are starting that kind of down on their luck, and don't have the best starting place, and then there's some other people that are starting a little higher. They might already have a college degree, so that's already a leg up from your start. So that really what's takes you, really for everyone.
I really think that step one is starting. You can sharpen your knives, you can read as many books as you want, but until you actually go out there and do something, I mean, you're never gonna start until you start.
Sure.
And and if you wait, I mean, like the people that waited 10 years ago, dude, they lost out on hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
The people that start today that are worried about the crash coming, they're going to miss out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're going to see houses, continue to double every 10 years, how they have historically. I think America is going to move forward, and we're all still going to chase the dream of owning real estate and owning our homes. And, we're serving a community that's there. I mean, there's always going to be the people that don't take action. You try to talk to people that have never owned homes, and they look at you like you're a crazy person, and they don't realize we all started, the same way,
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, and honestly, it's just building confidence over time and doing it, the repetitions, and, don't try to buy an apartment building like day one, borrow everyone's money and try to go, do that, because you don't know what you don't know until you find out, and that
totally
hurts when
Yeah. So get some reps in before you go apartment shopping.
yeah. Yeah, man. Buy a house, live in it, and see what breaks, and then you'll be like, oh, let me fix all that and go do it on the next one, and it's not so bad,
Right.
I mean, worst case scenario, you're vacuuming up water out of a carpet on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, that's but that's all manageable, right? Turn off the water, go eat some turkey, come back, handle it.
There it is. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's actually funny, dude. Thanksgiving is like a curse for me. Like, I call it like the septic Super Bowl because, like, dude, like, if you have septic systems, man, you better just pre-pump that joker because that's like it is. It's it's the day it's gonna go wrong.
For sure.
That's hilarious.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Man, so Will, wrapping everything up, where's the best place to reach you?
Yeah. Same. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can check us out on the eliterealestatepodcast.com. And then on Instagram, it's just elite, REIFL.W McClelland. And before I ask you, because it's my favorite, just want to say a big thank you to Clean Eats that allows us to get all these cool guests for our listeners. They're our sponsors, and they just keep making things tick. So big shout out to Clean Eats, ready to go eat something right now. And but yeah, where do we find you, Sam?
Yeah, so best place to reach me for a quick response is on Instagram at Sam_Florida Man. So I am the Florida Man. So just come hit me up at Sam_Florida Man on Instagram. I will respond quickly if you got a deal you want me to check out for you. And always you can find us on the EliteRealEstatePodcast.com to listen to our episodes or send us information. We're always looking for people that want to invest with us, partner with us, or even just loan us money. So feel free to message us, and because like Ryan said, I want to be like Grant Cardone. I will take the money. So please give me a shout. But Ryan,
fair and reasonable terms, Sam.
100%. Yeah, no, for sure on that. It will be a win situation for sure. But
I would have to quit my job if I had a bunch of money because I would be like just a terrorist, like just buying, fixing constantly. It would just. It might be a problem for me. Yeah.
Wait, it sounds like some big time financing, and you're just gonna go. You're gonna shoot that portfolio up 10 times.
Yeah, so I'll sell the whole thing and buy better stuff. That's the goal. Yeah.
I like that.
No, I think, hey, Ryan, I was going to say this is definitely a great episode. I mean,
Totally.
I just think it's going to be able to touch people on so many different levels, man. And like I said, where you started and where you've arrived at is definitely a
Thanks, man. And one thing I will say to everyone, hopefully people listen this long, but once you start doing it, you'll start to affect the people around you. Like even my mom bought a second house just watching me. She runs an Airbnb. She's did 16 years in and out of prison, and she owns one house free and clear as a Airbnb, and so dude, it doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start.
Right. And I'd actually even probably even give you credit for that because, like, I'm sure you really were an inspiration, for that. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, the people around you in your life, close to you, you can really the more successful you are, the bigger difference you can make for everyone around you.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it's generating, not only generational wealth for my family, but inspiring those around you that can, elevate them. Like believe it or not, your nieces and nephews, like you see all these guitars behind me. I never thought anything of them. Out of the 5 of the kids that I have, nieces and nephews, 2 of them are musicians, and they're like good. So it's same thing with the real estate, man. They're absorbing it, they're learning, and as long you want to plant those seeds, and because I want my family to be prosperous, not just me. And I want them to create their own wealth. And, when I pass on, I mean, obviously it's going to go, to my sweet baby angel, but, I want those kids to learn those lessons too. And, really just change the trajectory of, the blue collar, like lineage that we've had for so long, and just like, hey, we're a strong community. We're, somebody you can look to, that you can trust, that has a good business, who understands how to help themselves and the community around them, So
100%.
yeah.
Well, you
So,
definitely
thanks.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, we appreciate having you on the show. So it's definitely a great episode.
Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Awesome episode.
Thanks, guys.